Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are continuing with Caitanya Caritamrta Adi Lila, chapter number 2, text number 98. Amsha Shaktya Visharupe Dvi Vidvavatara Balya Pavanda Dharma Dvita Prakara. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. His incarnations are of two kinds, namely partial and empowered. He appears in two ages, childhood and boyhood. Purport. The Vilas forms are 6 in number. Incarnations are of two varieties, namely Shaktya-vesha or empowered and Amsha-vesha or partial. These incarnations also come within the category of Prabhav and Vaibhav manifestations. Childhood and boyhood are two special features of personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, but his permanent feature is his eternal form as an adolescent youth. The original personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is always worshipped in this eternal adolescent form. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, as we saw in the previous verse, verse number 97, it says the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna enjoys himself in 6 primary expansions. His 2 manifestations are Prabhav and Vaibhav. So here it's talking about Krishna enjoying himself because he is the ultimate enjoyer. In fact, he is the only enjoyer. And 2 manifestations mentioned are Prabhav and Vaibhav. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that he has innumerable expansions, just like his pastimes are unlimited. Similarly, his expansions also are innumerable, but they primarily fall into 2 categories, Prabhav and Vaibhav. Now, Prabhav, Prabhupada explains, is in relation with Krishna's potencies, whereas the Vaibhav is in relation to his excellence. Now, again, Prabhav has 3 varieties, and some are temporary and some are eternal, like Mohini avatar, Hamsa avatar, Shukla avatar. They are all temporary. And Vaibhav is the one you can say Kurma avatar, Matsya avatar, Varaha avatar. Okay, so this is how Srila Prabhupada has explained in verse number 97, and in 98 he's again talking about incarnations, partial incarnations and empowered. Prabhupada mentions that Narad Muni is a Shaktya Vesha avatar. He's the empowered one. And this verse number 98 is also talking about Krishna appearing in 2 ages, childhood and boyhood, like Bal and Pagan. So these 2, right? And Shakti Vesha avatar, and the other one, which is called the partial. So Shaktya Vesha avatar is empowered, and the other one is Amsha Vesh is a partial incarnation. So, but the permanent feature, whatever incarnation it may be, the permanent feature is the eternal form of Krishna as a youth. If you remember, Prabhupada talked about Lord Sri Krishna, when the battle of Kurukshetra was going on, he was 125 years old, but he looked like a youth, I was listening to a lecture, and this Prabhu was saying, I think yesterday I was hearing his lecture from Punjabi Bagh, and he was saying that Radharani, her age comes only up to 13 years. How many months? Let's see, 13 years, 7 months, and a few days. And then after that, her body remains youthful as a 13-year-old. Whereas Krishna, his goes up to 15 years, 2 months, and 7 days. And after that, it doesn't grow old. Even though age wise it may go up, but he always remains like the eternal form of youth. And we see the picture of Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He looks like a young boy, right? Very youthful. Let's see what is verse number 99. Kishora Swarupa Krishna Swayam Avatari Krida Kare Chaya Rupe Vishwabhari. Translation. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who is eternally and adolescent, is the primeval Lord, the source of all incarnations. He expands himself in these six categories of forms to establish his supremacy throughout the universe. So we see again there's another reference that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Everything belongs to him. Everything comes from him, and he is the ultimate source. He is the enjoyer. He is the controller. He's eternally youthful. He's the cause and source of, like in the verse it says, he's the primeval Lord, the source of all incarnations. So that means Krishna is the ultimate authority. There's no one equal to him and no one above him. We see that this reference of Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead is repeated again and again and again, so that we do not forget that we are not the controllers. We must always remember we are the eternal servants of the Lord. Jivera Swarupoy, Krishnera, Nityadas. Nitya means eternal servants. We are eternal servants of the Lord. And that is why here again and again we find references that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is Bhagavan Swayam. Verse number 100. Chaya rupe haya ananta vibheda ananta rupe eka rupa nahi kichu bheda. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In these six kinds of forms, there are innumerable varieties. Although they are many, they are all one. There is no difference between them. Purport. The personality of Godhead manifests himself in six different features: Prabhav, Vaibhav, empowered incarnations, partial incarnations, childhood, and boyhood. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, whose permanent feature is adolescence, enjoys his transcendental proclivities by performing pastimes in these six forms. In these six features, there are unlimited divisions of the personality of Godhead's forms. The jivas or living beings are differentiated parts and parcels of the Lord. They are all diversities of the one without a second, the supreme personality of Godhead. So you see, here again we see the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. All his forms are innumerable, and in that also there are so many varieties. But there are these six different features that is being talked about. Srila Prabhupada explains those. What are those? Prabhav, Vaibhav, empowered incarnations, partial incarnations, childhood, and boyhood. Now, what is the purpose of all these? What is the purpose of Krishna expanding himself, incarnating with different varieties, different forms? What is the purpose? There's only one purpose: to enjoy his own pastimes. These are all because Krishna wants to enjoy his own pastimes. And we see that just now we have, heard Bhagavad Gita many times. We have heard the whole Bhagavatam. Now we are, hearing Chaitanya Charitamrta. So much knowledge we have gained. How much have we retained? Right? How much have we retained? It's every time we open Bhagavad Gita, we find something new. So Krishna's knowledge is unlimited. His divisions also that they are talking about in this purport and verse, they are also unlimited. He is only one supreme Lord. Even in the dictionary, when we see the meaning of God, it's singular. There's just one being, one, which means there is no one above him or equal to him. He is the only one Supreme Lord and he is the controller. So his incarnations, when they come, they are empowered by him only. But those incarnations, they are not the Supreme Lord. They don't have the um, same position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So this is what is important to understand. Verse number 101. Chitta Shakti Swarup Shakti Antaranga Nama Tahara Vaibhavananta Vaikuntadi Dhama. Translation. The Chitta Shakti, which is also called Swarup Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, displays many varied manifestations. It sustains the kingdom of God and its paraphernalia. See, Chitta Shakti, which is also called Sarup Shakti and Antaranga Shakti. Now, this is further divided into three aspects when you talk about Chitta Shakti. So, there is Sandhini Shakti, Samvit, and Hiladini. These are the three divisions. Not divisions, but you can call them as aspects, right? So, what does the Sandhini Shakti do? It is the destroying, creating, and preserving the existence, right? In all circumstances, which means it is Krishna's potency for existence. Then comes Samvit Shakti. Samvit is with that Krishna, he knows and he causes others to know, which means cognitive potency, knowledge acquisition, how we can, so that's knowledge acquisition that comes from Samvit. And then finally, there's Hiladini Shakti, which we have heard many times, which is a pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. He rejoices and he causes joy to others. This is his aspect of bliss, his potency for pleasure. So Hiladini Shakti is the aspect of bliss. Sandhini Shakti is of eternal existence, and Samvit is of cognizance, which is knowing, no, or you can say knowledge awareness, how we can, be aware of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Let's go to verse number 102. Maya Shakti Bahiranga Jagat Karana Tahar Vaibhavananta Brahmandiragana. Translation. The external energy called Maya Shakti is the cause of innumerable universes with varied material potencies. Now, Srila Prabhupada has explained to us that Maya Devi, that's Durga Devi, she is the one who is Krishna's potency. It is external energy, but she has a purpose. Her dham is this material world. This material planet is her location, and she is the cause of innumerable universes with varied material potencies. Number 103, Jiva Shakti Tathasthakya Nahi Yara Anta Mukhya Tina Shakti Tara Vibheda Ananta. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The marginal potency, which is between these two, which is internal and external, consists of the numberless living beings. These are the three principal energies which have unlimited categories and subdivisions. Perfect. The internal potency of the Lord, which is called Chitta Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, exhibits variegatedness in the transcendental Vaikuntha cosmos. Besides ourselves, there are unlimited numbers of liberated living beings who associate with the personality of Godhead in his innumerable features. The material cosmos displays the external energy in which the conditioned living beings are provided all liberty to go back to the personality of Godhead after leaving the material tabernacle. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8 informs us. न तस्य कार्यं करणं च विद्यते न तत्समश्चाभ्याधिकश्च दृश्यते परास्य शक्तिर् Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnanabala Kriyacha. The Supreme Lord is one without a second. He has nothing to do personally, nor does he have material senses. No one is equal to him or greater than him. He has unlimited, variegated potencies of different names which exist within him as autonomous attributes and provide him full knowledge, power, and pastimes. So, here we saw in these last two verses talking about the potency in between internal and external is the marginal, and we living entities, we fall under this marginal potency. Now in these two verses nicely it's mentioned that they're unlimited living entities, right? Unlimited categories, unlimited subdivisions, of these principal energies. So there's so many different branches, and because Krishna has unlimited potencies, right? And he has unlimited pastime, so he makes all these arrangements. So it's important to understand how these energies are working, these potencies, internal, marginal, and external. We are concerned with the marginal. Prabhupada explains, being the marginal potency, we can either go this way or that way. We can either raise ourselves, liberate ourselves, or we can fall down, come down. So we have to be very, very important. This human form of life is only meant for Krishna consciousness. That is why Srila Prabhupada has given us such a simple process. Just chanting, reading, hearing, associating, preaching, and doing seva. All that is required. This way, we will be able to Krishnaize our existence. Somehow or the other, make ourselves fully Krishna conscious. Now, in this last verse that I read, 103, it's talking about Chitta Shakti, which is exhibited in Vaikuntha planets only. And Srila Prabhupada is talking about unlimited, liberated living beings. Unlimited. That means, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, out of thousands, Manushyanam Sahasreshu, Kaschit Yatati. Out of thousands, one will try for perfection. And out of thousands who have attained perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So he's talking about those who are liberated souls. So they are also unlimited. See, so many there. So, but those liberated souls, those liberated living entities, they get the opportunity to associate with Krishna. Now, one may say, liberated means after death. No, it can be even in this body also, one can be liberated. Like we've heard the pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Once when he was in the temple room, Aarti was going on, he looked at his disciple, one disciple, and asked him to bring a chair because Narad Muni was there. Srila Prabhupada could see Narad Muni. Srila Prabhupada, so these liberated souls, like why does Bhagavad Gita say Tattva Darshinaha, right? Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadyakshanti Te Jnanam Gnaninas Tattva Darshina means they have seen the truth. They are liberated. So the bona fide spiritual master has seen the truth. They have the ability, or they are qualified to associate with Krishna. So that's what he's talking about in the purport, that these liberated living beings, they associate with Krishna, right? And Srila Prabhupada has given us the simple process of Krishna consciousness, which can help us to come to that stage where we can also associate with Krishna. Like Prabhupada says, when we go to the temple, when we visit the temple, we see the deities. If we are purified, we can associate with the deities, we can talk to the deities, right? But right now we are in the material world, in this material planet, and conditioned since time immemorial, right? But we have an option. Prabhupada says in the purport, being in this human form, in this material world, we have the option to go back to Godhead. And how can we do that? The minute independence that Krishna has given us, we can use it. and not misuse it. What is, how do we misuse this minute independence? By not being Krishna conscious or not being very serious about Krishna consciousness, then that is called misusing our minute freedom that we've got. But if we use this minute independence, this little, leeway that we have got, then we can break the cycle of birth and death and go back to the spiritual world. Now, this beautiful verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad, right, is saying Krishna is one without a second. No one equal to him or above him. He's the only one without a second. He does nothing personally, right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I'm not doing anything, right? Everything is done by his energies. He has unlimited names, unlimited pastimes, unlimited potencies, right? But yet he is self-controlling. There's no one who can control Krishna. Of course, Prabhupada says that when we come to the level of pure bhakti, then, then we can say that Krishna, will listen to us, in the sense will follow, or we will be able to conquer Krishna, not in the real sense, but in the sense that there will be that beautiful loving relationship between the devotee and the Supreme Lord. So he is self-controlling. No one can control him. He's self-sufficient. When we cook for the Supreme Lord, we think, oh, let me offer this, let me offer that. He's not looking for food. He's not looking for bhoga. He's not saying, oh, what have you made for me today? He doesn't need anything. He has everything. He's self sufficient. But he's looking for prema. He's looking for the devotion, the love with which that bhoga is being offered to him. And most importantly, he's self ruling. No one can rule him, right? No one can control him. But the devotees can, those pure devotees, they can. So what do we learn from all these verses today? That there are innumerable potencies of Krishna, and these potencies exist in him fully, right? They are, and he is not dependent on anything external. He's not dependent on anyone. He's not dependent on anything. He himself provides himself with everything, with full knowledge, power, pastimes, everything. It's nothing is dependent externally. Like for instance, we are so much dependent on other people, other things, other possessions. We are dependent on all those. But Krishna is self sufficient. He does not depend, there is no external dependency at all. So he provides himself with everything. He does not require anyone else to provide him with anything. We should not think that, oh, today I did not offer any bhoga to the Lord, so he's going to go hungry. No, he does not require anyone else to provide him with anything, because he is complete in himself. So we see all these verses are so nicely explaining to us point number one, that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one equal to him, no one above him. The second thing we learn is that he has unlimited potencies, unlimited knowledge, unlimited pastimes. And then the third thing is that we living beings, we are the marginal potency, and we have the option of raising ourselves. This human form of life is just meant for self realization. Yes, we have heard this so many times. What's new? There's nothing new. It's the same old, same old, same old. That we are eternal servants. Jivera Swarupoy, Krishnara Nityadas. We are Nityadas. We are eternal servants of Krishna. And our duty, our prescribed duty is to somehow or the other become fully Krishna conscious and come to the stage where we become qualified to go back to the supreme abode, which is Goloka Vrindavan. So this should be our what you call our goal in life. Our goal should be that somehow or the other we become fully Krishna conscious, and that will be possible only when we chant attentively. We chant our rounds attentively, at least minimum 16 rounds. I was reading these quotes of Guru Maharaj that come every day, from, I think, from Delhi, they post. And they're also in those question answers, that are sent in the WhatsApp group. The simple process is chant your 16 rounds nicely, read Srila Prabhupada's books, associate with devotees, do seva, follow the four regulative principles, and Guru Maharaj says, then we can go back to Godhead. Now, the choice is up to us. What do we want to do? Do we want to make this our last birth? Do we want to make sure that we don't come back again in this material world? If the answer is yes, then the only way is to follow the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Then we will be able to break this cycle of birth and death and go back to our original eternal home where there's no more suffering. I got a call yesterday and was saying, "Oh, I have this problem, I have that suffering, and I'm suffering, and I'm suffering." And so, what is the answer? If we are in the prison house, this is all that we are going to get in prison house. That is suffering. This material world is a prison house. There is suffering. Krishna doesn't say that this material world is a clubhouse where you can enjoy. No, he says it's dukhalayam ashashvatam. It's full of misery and it is temporary also. So we cannot expect to get something else in a place where there is that facility is not available. Yes, if Bhagavad Gita said that this material world is a clubhouse, then if suffering comes, then we'll say, oh, this is not right. It's like trying to say, I'm going to go in the ocean to swim, but I don't want to get wet. Ocean is water. Water means you get wet. That is what you call logical. We cannot say that I want to go in the swimming pool and not get wet. This material world is a place of misery, and actually, it's a good thing because it reminds us again and again that this is not our place. We need to come out of it. Like if one is in the prison house, if that, the person, that criminal or whoever it is, behaves nicely, good behavior, proper behavior, and is obedient, then there is relief. In the sense is that that prisoner is allowed to leave before time, in the sense, because he has shown good behavior, right? So also here in this material world, which is a prison house, if we behave the way Krishna wants us to behave, to be Krishna conscious in all our activities. Krishna conscious is not just 2 hours in the morning, or a little time in the evening, to do arti and all. No, it's a 24/7 program where it goes on all the time, no matter what we are doing, whether we are working, whether we are taking care of home or children, business, whatever it may be, or it's recreation. The consciousness must be Krishna in the center. Krishna should be there. Like I always give the example of a glass jar. Now, in that glass jar, we have a big rock to fill, few pebbles, and sand to fill. If we fill the jar with sand and pebbles first, then there will be no place for the rock. So we need to put the rock inside first. When we put the rock inside first, then the pebbles and the sand will find its way inside the jar on their own. We won't have to struggle. Similarly, if you put Krishna, the big rock, in the center, if Krishna is in the center, then everything else will fall in place automatically. We don't have to worry. It's just a question of somehow or the other, we Krishnaize ourselves, Krishnaize our gross body, our subtle body, our consciousness. If we can do that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the easy process, right? Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam. Just chanting, chanting, chanting. So this is what we will learn even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, how to love Krishna, how we can come to that stage where we have a loving relationship with Him. Hare Krishna.